When we don't make regular attendance to the means of grace primary, we suffer spiritually. And I think that's an important reality. So making it a priority, but then also prayerfully tending it in advance. We ought to be praying throughout the week for the sermons that we've heard preached the previous Lord's Day, and praying that the Lord would use the gathering of His saints, the sermons that we hear this coming or the next Lord's Day, preparing our hearts for it, meditating on what we have heard preached after we have heard it preached. Praying for the minister who will be preaching the word of Christ, or the gifted brother, or whatever man might be preaching this coming Lord's Day. And so I think when our hearts are prayerfully prepared, we're in the best spot to then enter and attend to these means of grace. As we think about the Lord's Supper and baptism, our confession encourages the use of those throughout the history of the church. Even in the early documents of early Christians right outside the New Testament, there is just this reality that before someone is baptized, the person to be baptized and the one doing the baptism is to fast, for instance. That's in the Didache in the first 200 years of the Christian church. Not that's a biblical command, but you see a principle there, that we are preparing for these things, that we're readying ourselves for these things. I guess I would say this: most of the important meals in our lives, we take time to prepare for. We set the table, we make sure everything is ready, and that might be a good picture for our hearts as we think about gathering each Lord's Day.
That's a good picture, because even in the practical application, say, to the Lord's Supper, that is a precious meal to us. It is one of the means of grace that we will have the privilege of partaking in regularly in church life. And how much do we really do to prepare our hearts and to actively engage that activity and really make the most out of it? We don't do what we ought to do. And I think that's something that we need to acknowledge more often.